if you know, but it's Diabetes Awareness Month. In honor of that, I would like to do a diabetes tag. I searched for one on the internet, but I couldn't find one, so I just ended up making one myself. The first question on this tag is, what type do you have? There's all sorts of different types of diabetes. I have type 1. Number 2, when were you diagnosed? I was diagnosed December 20th, 2009. So I was 15 at the time. Oh, that was a while ago. Number 3, how did you react? Well, I had gotten sick, and I was sick for a while, and we didn't have a clue what it was until I went to the hospital, and my blood sugar was like 700, and it had been like that for a while. Because I was sick for such a long time, I didn't really have a extreme reaction to it because I knew something was wrong. I just wasn't sure what it was, and I didn't know a lot about diabetes anyway, so it wasn't like, gasp, I have diabetes now, what will I do? It was just kind of like, oh, okay, that's what I have, alright, we'll see how this goes. Number 4, how do you manage your diabetes? I'm not on multiple daily injections anymore. I started out on a syringe, and then I went to a pen, and now I'm on the pump, thank goodness. If you have a pump, which one? I have the Medtronic. Let's see. It's connected to me with a tube, and that's really nice. I have a kink in my tube. Let's get that out. Okay, so I have this, and it's got like a nice little tube attached to it. I think it's the Paradigm 723 is the model. Snazzy little thing. Number 6, do you know anybody with diabetes? I do. I didn't know anybody before I was diagnosed. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm in this diabetes club now. Now I know everybody that has diabetes. I actually started a new high school the next fall, and this girl was wearing a pump on the back of her arm, and she had a tank top on. I was new and totally embarrassed myself, but I ran right up to her, and I'm like freaking out, do you have diabetes? And she turns around and she gives me the weirdest look, and she's like, yeah, I do. Believe it or not, we became really good friends after that. So I'm really thankful that I got overwhelmed with the fact that she had a pump on the back of her arm. Shout out to Jenna. What? Number 7. What is your least favorite thing about diabetes? My least favorite thing is you have to check your blood sugar and bolus every single time you eat, and snacking is not an ideal thing anymore, which, okay, like you shouldn't be constantly snacking anyways, but I'm good at it, so why not? That's probably the thing that bugs me the most and like gets to me the most is snacking, because I really love to snack. Diabetes. Number 8. Just listed what my least favorite thing was, so my favorite thing would be the special treatment that you get. Yeah, special treatment. I mean, like, you get to take in snacks places. They can't really argue because you have a disease and like it's a medical necessity. So that's pretty cool. Number 9, what is the most annoying thing people say to you because you have diabetes? Let's see. There's probably a million things that I could list, mostly because no one really knows about diabetes, but probably the number one thing is, are you sure you can eat that? Yes, I can. I can eat whatever I want, actually. Thank you. So, heads up, if you ever say that to a diabetic, you might get your head chopped off. Just warning you. Number 10, how do the people around you act? At work, everybody's like, they're really concerned about, like, if my blood sugar is low, or, you know, and they're always right there like, oh, do you want me to get you something? Like, freaking out. My parents, they, you know, of course, are always super worried. That's understandable. I wouldn't say anybody makes like a real sincere effort to like understand or like ask things about diabetes. I mean, they try to be polite and like as compassionate as they can be, I guess. Like, my dad is super helpful with counting carbs and doing things like that, and my mom is, did you check your blood sugar? That's also an annoying thing, but I'll let it slide because she's worried about me. Number 11. In your own words, what is diabetes? Diabetes is when your pancreas just craps out. It stops working. You need insulin to break down the carbs in your blood. That's why your blood sugar goes up and down, like, according to how much insulin you take. Or if you don't take any at all. That's about it. That sums it up a little. As much as it needs to be. Number 12. What's been the scariest moment for you? The scariest moment is, I went into DKA, actually. I got some sort of virus. It was like the flu or something, and we had been checking my blood sugar pretty frequently, like you're supposed to, especially when you're sick. Your blood sugar can get really crazy. It just kind of like happened out of nowhere. I just passed out and got like, just like everything hurt really bad. I kept blacking out. My mom took me to the hospital. I remember getting in the car. I remember being in an elevator on a gurney and then waking up in a new room. So I was pretty out of it most of the time. That was probably the scariest part because you can go into a coma, and I was heading there. But luckily, they got things sorted out and got me all better. Yeah. Excellent doctor's work. Thank you, hospital. Number 13. What's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you because of diabetes? Or the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you while you've been diabetic that's been associated with diabetes. I was at a baseball game and I was in the bathroom and I went to go pull my pants down and I ripped out my sight for my pump, and I'm like, crap! Just yelled as loud as possible in the middle of, or well, okay, not in the middle, but in a stall in a very crowded bathroom. And I'm sure everybody thought that I was really strange. But that's probably the most embarrassing thing. It's not too embarrassing, but that's what's happened to me so far. Number 14, do you think there will ever be a cure? And do you want one? Honestly, there probably is a cure. Maybe they're not sharing it with us yet. Not to sound like a conspiracist, but you know, just saying, it might be out there. We just don't know about it, or the public doesn't know about it yet. And do I want to have a cure? I haven't really decided. I don't know. I don't know if I want a cure. I mean, it would be nice to be able to go back to being normal and not having anything attached to me all the time, not having to worry about like checking my blood sugar and stuff like that. That's a hassle that I would love to get rid of, but diabetes is a big part of who you are. I mean, as for now, it's something that you'll have for the rest of your life, so you really just have to accept it. I guess it would be alright if there was a cure, but I'm not too caught up in like worrying about if there will ever be one. And number 15, what would you like to say about diabetes? I'd like to tell my friends that I can behave and be just like anybody else. I'd like to tell like all my family members that just that I'm my own person and that I can worry about myself and just trust that I've got things under control. And if they're not, I'll let somebody know. Okay, so that I only came up with 15 questions for the tag. If you're diabetic and you're watching this, cheers to you. Yeah. It would mean a lot if you did a video and did the diabetes tag. I'd like to hear what your answers are to these questions. Feel free to add more or change them if you want. To everybody else that's not diabetic, maybe look out for that person with a diabetes pump and feel free to ask them questions. I mean, personally, I love when people ask me questions about it. Like, I don't care if you're a complete stranger and you just walk right up to me. You're like, oh, hey, what's that little pager thing that you got there hanging off your side? Like, what's that tubing? Is that just some thread from your sweater? No, just feel free to ask, because I will be more than happy to tell you. And I'm going to speak for everybody else. Ask them too. You never know how they'll react. I can't imagine that they'd get too angry about it. You know, the more people that know about diabetes, the merrier. Feel free to ask questions and educate yourself, because there's a whole lot of diseases out there that nobody knows about, that plenty of people have, but just aren't educated on them.